something we all need. Gotta have it now if you wanna succeed. Striving, surviving, that's no doubt. Sticking together, we gon' find a way out. To all you young people, give it your all. To all you young people, give it your all. To all you young people, give it your all. To all you young people, give it your all.
Good afternoon, the BAT community. Thank you, as always, for staying involved. Thank you for staying engaged. Today, we're going to be going all the way out west. I'm going back to Cali, to bring on a dope MC, a dope poet, a dope author, a dope friend, and someone I met years ago, still when she was in the University of Albany. Tonight's feature, or this afternoon's feature on the Back Community Podcast, is Miss Sagirah Trust Layne, all the way out in LA. So first things first, man, I just want to say thank you for being on the Back Community. I know you and I had talked previously about getting you on, and it just happened to, fall in line right where it's supposed to be. So I'm thankful to be able to highlight you definitely during Women's History Month, and I look forward to diving into your story. So thanks for being on the Back Community.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let me see. Backstory. Most of the people out there know that I used to run a mentoring program working with 12 to 18-year-olds. But one of the things that we ended up doing was we got in pretty good with all of the students up at the University of Albany at the time when we were running the model at the Green Tech High School. And this young lady happened to be one of the people who started to come out as volunteers with us to work with the young men. And anyone who knows me knows that model is near and dear to my heart. So anyone who took a love to the kids the way that I did is near and dear to my heart. On top of the fact we used to talk shit about music all the time too. So, I couldn't wait to get you onto the platform. Thanks for being here.
Yes. And model is the reason why Mondays is still my favorite day of the week. After class, I hit it to the school with the kids. Them boys was hilarious.
Listen, we must be up there in high regard because no one holds Mondays in high regard, right? So I'm thankful if model has made the difference in your life and put Mondays in high regards, because everyone's like, throw away the Monday, throw away this Monday. All right. Well, my first official question that I actually want to ask you is, I always do a horrible job introducing everybody. I try my best to give the best introductions, but I like to say I give a horrible job. But nobody can introduce you how you can introduce yourself. So my first official question on the Back Community is, please tell the Back Community more about yourself, what it is that you do. Here's your opportunity to introduce yourself to the world.
Okay, well, I probably do a worse job at introducing myself. But we're gonna see what we about to do. So, as you mentioned, my name is Sagirah Layne. I go by many names. It depends who calling me and where they know me from.
Facts.
The most common nickname is Siggy. But I go by my pen name. My performance name is Trust. I was given that name a long time ago by someone very dear to my heart, and he passed away 20 years ago. We were young. He was 18 years old. So I try to honor him in keeping that name, even though everybody just keep calling me Siggy and Sagirah during my performances. I'm like, it's Trust. When I'm doing this, it's Trust. But yeah, I'm an accountant. I've been doing that I went to school for accounting. That's what I was doing at Albany. I went back to the city. I'm from Brooklyn. Went back to the city to get my master's. Then I've been working in accounting ever since. This year made 10 years full time.
Let's go.
Accounting pays the bills, but writing, performing, apparently that's my ministry. So that's what we're going with.
Okay.
And I've been doing that since I was a little girl, and my father would always be like, when you're gonna write a book? Like he really took an interest in me being a creative. He started me in piano lessons when I was 9, so I've been playing that forever. I took up the violin like 3 years before I moved to California. Like creativity is just that's what works for me. But accounting, I'm good at that too, and it pays the bills for all the things that I really want to do. So I got a mix between my left and right brain.
Okay, that's smart though. That's smart, man. And listen, I remember having this conversation with my niece, and her telling me that she's like, Ty, because I got her a job the same place where I work at. I've been with the federal government now for
Mhm.
18 years, and I remember when she first got out of undergrad, she's just like, I'm not passionate about this job. I'm like, girl, nobody asked you about your passion, okay? So
Right,
you can do what you're passionate about outside of work. So,
right,
like you said, I take care of everything else through this, and I'm able to funnel or to fund everything else that I want to be creative with,
right,
and or everything else that I'm passionate about. So, like you said, my accounting job takes care of everything else that allows me to be
right.
the beautiful creative that you guys see out here.
Exactly. And I've met a CPA from New Jersey, and he's big in the poetry world. And he was like, I was a CPA, I had my own business, and then I was able to transition full time to poetry. So maybe that could be a thing for me. But right
Yep.
now, I need that money to
Yep.
pay for what I'm trying to do.
So this you feel me? You feel me? Yeah. Okay. Well, let me see, man. What was it about poetry that stood out to you? Right. Obviously, we've established why it's important for you to be everybody's favorite accountant. But what was it about poetry that drew you in that you fell in love with?
Man, I don't even know if I could tell you. I wrote everything growing up. Like I wrote and I read everything. Like
Mm,
if if I was sitting somewhere and there was a newspaper, I just pick it up and read it. Like I was just into reading and writing everything. Every little thought that I had, I wrote it. I spent a lot of time just writing, and I would be writing like songs because when I was younger, I wanted to be a rapper, a spy, a boxer. Like I wanted to be everything that was like, what? So I wanted to be a rapper. So I would write songs, I would write just my thoughts, I would write everything. And I don't know how I so much got to poetry, but I just wrote a couple things and read it back and was like, this sounds really good. And so
mm,
I just kept writing, it just kept coming to me. And then when I was in high school, we had a teacher. So I had kind of like really gotten into poetry, and I had this other classmate who was into poetry too.
mm.
So we kind of like started talking to this teacher, like, we kind of want a poetry club. And she was like,
Mm.
okay, you could meet in my classroom during lunch. And she introduced us to Def Poetry Jam. And
Nice.
I spent hours watching that. I learned their poems and would be reciting it back with them every day I was watching this. And I was like, this is a dope world. Like, how I get
Mm,
in here? Like, wait, but I didn't like it still didn't register to me like this is something like people do like with their lives. I already knew that I was going to school for accounting. Like I already had my life mapped out, and I did not know that there was a world like this, like for
mm,
real. um and I wish I could find that teacher because she eventually,
mm,
and I wish I could find her to show her like, you pushed me and look what you did. Like
mm,
look where I am. And so I I don't know how specifically I got to poetry, but I know when I got settled with that teacher and she put me on the Def Poetry Jam, I said, "Oh, this is a vibe." But I never really like performed in New York. It's like she took us. I remember one time she took us to some poetry slam that was happening at the Grand Central Library in New York.
mm,
Brooklyn. And so we went to that, and I did a piece there. And from my organization, the National Council of Negro Women, the section that I was in, they had asked me to do a piece. So I did like two pieces, and people would react to my pieces, but it didn't hit me at that point, like the way they were reacting when I later moved here and really got into it and I saw the same reactions, I was like, huh.
Mm.
So yeah, that changed the trajectory to me. And I was like, I could have been doing this for a really long time, but everything is God's timing. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And poetry is so it's obviously everyone will associate poetry with beauty, right? Because in the artistic form, you're getting the chance to get your feelings out through words, right? And it's a lot of work to like take your take your words and to create a dramatization of that in your deliverance of how you're giving it out, right? One of my close friends down in Charlotte, my man Mike Sim, shout out to Mike, who's down in Atlanta now, but I watched him perform one time at a poetry slam in Charlotte, and it was about teaching young kids, and I can remember his performance, which is the picture that I'm painting right now, right? And it just what it left with me was just like he was telling young kids to not um fall into what society tells us to do. Like, you know what? If you want to paint this white kid brown, go ahead, paint him. If you want to paint this brown kid white, paint him that way. It was just like, we gotta stop living within the boxes that everybody else places us in. Right. And it
right.
was just so dope. And it was just like, I'm like, yo, I don't know how you do that. He's like, what do you mean, bro? Just like, listen, and no paper, no reading off of it. He was just like, boom, boom, boom. And I still remember it like it's got to been like
Mhm.
13, 14 years ago. But it was, so that's the power of words and being able to connect with people in a way where you don't lose them, because sometimes you can get lost in a person's words. But I love it when like I can feel you every step of the way in what you're saying. Like, so when you just said like that group, you did one, you did another piece, and everybody was feeling it, and then you got that same response when you went to Cali. It's because it's like you're connecting with them. You're giving them something that like, oh, I heard every bit of that. So okay, yeah. So but poetry not only led you from the great Brooklyn, I think that's Brooklyn behind me, led you from the great Brooklyn all the way over to LA, but poetry also opened up an opportunity for you to become an author, which is something that, um, I know how big of an endeavor it is now, right? So, I love to celebrate authors and in that travel and that pursuit. So I had to go down to my library downstairs to go ahead and get The Rise of the Dope Black Woman by my friend Ziggy over here.
Yeah.
So tell us about this, Siggy. What was it about the rise of the dope black woman that you knew this was the book to bring to the world?
All right. So give y'all a little backstory. All right. So poetry did not bring me to California.
Mm,
I came to California to do accounting, right? Well, so full circle. So I came to do accounting, right? I One day I was sitting, I used to work for one of the big four in New York. And I knew I have mapped out my life to a point where I could make sure that I would always be good, no matter what.
mm,
And I was told when I was getting ready to start school, I was told that you started a big four. When
mm,
you started a big four, you will always have a seat at the table. You set for your career. So I was like, I'm gonna be set for my career. So I
mm,
started at big four. But after working at big four, it's typical that you do your first 2 3 years and then you move on. And I got to the point where it was time for me to move on. So one day I'm sitting in the audit room, I'm listening to I just have a random playlist going. India Ari, Strength, Courage, and Wisdom comes on.
courage and wisdom.
Yes. I had never heard this song before. So I'm like, I'm tapped in. This song is what eventually moved me across the country because she's what that song put in me to quit that job, quit that job. And as I was making my decision to quit, I was like, I want to build a clientele. I mostly do entertainment and accounting clients. I was like, okay, I got clients in New York. I need to hit the other cities that, are big for entertainment. So I was like, okay, I got family in Atlanta. I could go build that at any time. I was like, I have no interest being on the West Coast. So I was like, I'm not going to go there. A year later, I was like, yeah, so I'm going to have to go there. I just packed up all my stuff and I came. I had never visited nothing, but I was like, I got a plan, a master plan. So I'm going. I came here, and as soon as I got here, I'm introducing myself to people. So I join an NCNW section, what I mentioned before. I joined one out here. They're getting ready for their Black History program. I met them in October. They're gearing up. They plan for months. I say, oh, I write poetry. I just said that. Like, I never used to tell people that. I just happened to say that. I'm like, I'm in a new space. Let me start saying new things. I was asked to write a poem for the Black History. I'm not thinking anything of it because, like I said, in New York, I didn't really perform. Like, I've read a piece here or there. So I'm like, okay, sure, why not? One day, I sit down with the chair. We're sitting down. We're trying to plan for the show. I put on this Stevie Wonder song. I'm his biggest fan. I put on Stevie Wonder. It was a new song I had never heard before. I put the song on repeat. I write the history of the dope Black woman. That was the first piece I wrote in California. That is the piece that got me to this interview, basically, because I wrote that piece. And when I performed that piece, the reaction from people was like, girl, who are you? Where'd you come from? What is this? How long you been performing? I was like, that was like my first real performance. They were like, you lying. When you gonna come with a book? Because I want this piece in my hands forever. Like, can I book you? Do you perform? I was like, book me. Okay, we have to do something. So then I start performing this piece, and that's a fan favorite. I start doing more performances. People see me more. They trying to book me. They keep asking me for a book. My father had always asked me when we were growing up, like, when you gonna write a book? So I just went into my poetry books. I handwrite everything. I went into my books. I pulled the ones that were resonating with me. I set it up. I had a lady out here who I sent it to her. I said, can you like proofread this for me? She was like, oh, I suggest you make like these kind of changes to like put it into an order. That's how I got like the different parts of the book and the chapters, if you will. And then I didn't even advertise this book, and I felt really bad because the book came out during COVID, right? And I had such a big plan for it. And as I was getting ready for my book launch, it everything got shut down. So I felt really bad. And I was like, they were like, drop the book anyway. So I dropped it just on a random day. I just posted, like, look what I did. And everybody was like, girl, how I get this book? I was like, okay. And then when things started like back together, I'm performing and people are like, girl, your words, like, and it's been people's reactions where I'm like, oh, this is what God sent me here to do. I thought I came to do accounting. God said, no, I just need you to get over there. And then I'm gonna show you what you're about to do.
I love it. I love it.
And so that brought me to the book, and this my little prized possession. I love her. I'm trying to give her a sibling.
Book two.
Yes.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I have to go back to India Irie only because I am in love with India Irie. Baby, I love you to my wife. Sorry, but musically, I love India Irie, right? Her album Voyage to India, no lie, is like there, and I'm a guy. That album is like therapy to me. I would drive from Charlotte back to Albany and listen to that album on repeat. Still to this day, you know what I mean? That like Voyage to India was everything. And it was just like, her mind, the way that she cared, her intellect, it was just everything to me. So when you said India Arie was the reason, hearing a strength, courage, and wisdom was the motivational a piece to you going from the East Coast to the West Coast. I get it because that's how powerful she is. Listen to that joint. It's like therapy. I just had to say that. It's like shout out to India Irie.
That listen, shout out to her, and I'm gonna tag her in this video because when I had so I started performing shows out here. Like I started making my own opportunity because I feel like as you get older, you live in like a kind of like everybody know
Mm.
people, they like cliques, and so if I'm gonna make my way, I gotta make my way. However, I'm gonna make my way. So I started having my own shows. So last year was my second solo show, and I called the show Strength, Courage, and Wisdom. And I'm
Mm.
like, can y'all share this? Tell India to come to the show. Like a lot of the show was based around like I had musicians and they were playing her songs in the background. I'm like, India, I love you. Come.
And that's the thing, man. Yo, in 2024, we have the internet and you legit have the capacity to touch and connect with so many people. We never really had the
Mhm.
capacity to do it. And a lot of people, if you do it in a way that is inviting, fun, and friendly, they will respond back to you. So, hopefully we we gonna get on her radar after today. We're gonna get
Yes.
on her radar after today. Let me see. Let me see. One of the things I love doing on the show, though, is being able to showcase you or find out more about you as a person, right? And the reason why I love doing this, especially as adults, is because I think the older we get, the more into our careers we get, we forget how to be creative. We
Mhm.
forget how to be fun. We forget to showcase who we really are. So, I just want to find out a little bit more about you through your journeys. And so, if you were to think about the younger version of you, right? The younger Siggy, right? Knowing everything that you know now, what is something that you wish, uh, what is something you would tell or you wish someone would have told the younger Siggy that you know now?
Oh my gosh. Do it all, and do it all right now. Like just do it. Just do everything. Just uh, be free. Like I realize now that I'm older and I see what my work is doing
Mm,
that I flashed back to the few times that I had let it out when I was younger and saw that it was having the same effect. And I could have been somewhere else right now, like
mm,
so much further in the world and touching so much more lives because apparently that's what it's doing. Like
mm.
the last performance that I had where that caused me to write that post where you connected with me
Yep.
was I did a piece from the standpoint of a slave.
Mm.
I did this piece, and it was pretty much the opening act of the show. And this lady
You about to
came,
give it to us right now, right? You about to perform it, right?
nope. But
Can't you
like
can't blame me for trying. You can't blame me for trying. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's like the piece, like throughout the story, like the theme was like I was an unruly slave and I'm not going. Like you talking about you gotta you a troublemaker? Yeah, I'm a troublemaker, and I'm gonna get us up on out of here because I'm not built for this life of bondage. And I feel like that's one of the rawest pieces I have ever written and performed. And so this lady came up to me after and she said, "Girl, why would you have me out here crying in public? Like, why would you be doing this?" And I'm just like, sorry. And this other lady, like, she was speaking to me. She's like, hold on, let me take off my glasses. Like, I need to tell you about yourself. Like, this is God gave you this. And if you don't keep doing this, like I'm gonna be mad at you. I don't even know you, and like this is what you need to be doing. And I flashed back to like all the times that people have said things to me, and I'm like, I could have been doing this for a long time. And it was because when I was a little girl, like I didn't share anything with anyone. I just wrote in my book and kept it moving. And I'm like, I've been keeping all of this to me for all these years. And I would tell my younger self, like, yo, City, just perform it. Like, They're gonna think it's dope and imagine where you could have been. Like,
Wow.
and like even I still gotta tell my grown shiggy self that, like, girls, you gotta share because you're keeping it to yourself. And then every time I have something, somebody comes up to me and says how it affected them. Like I remember one of the times I performed the history of the dope black woman, and this little girl, I was in line in front of her or behind her for after to get food. And I could tell, like you could tell someone's trying to like talk to you or something. I could tell it was something with this girl, but then she finally got up the courage to say, your piece was my favorite piece. I loved it so much. And I was like, my heart hurt this little girl. And then she was like, "Can I give you a hug?" And I'm like, "Baby, this is it. This is it. Like this is what I'm supposed to be doing." When at my last show, this girl came up to me and she was like, I was literally crying. Like I could relate to everything you said. And I'm just like, this is the effect that I have and I could have been having. And I still have to remind myself, you write these words and you keeping them in your little journal serves no one. And so just do it all. And it don't matter how you think it may not affect people or how shy you are or how you just do it. You just got to do it.
I love it. I love it. And earlier you also said, how you thought you were coming to California for one thing, and it was later revealed that you were here to do another thing, right? I tell everyone there's nothing better than keeping your hands opened, right, to receive and to be used by God, right? So, like you said, you're being able to see how your words, how you move, the impression you're leaving on other people, and how it has the capacity to really touch and affect. And it's dope. And it's just like, there's no what is the greatest form of what I say, the highest act is to inspire somebody else. I know I just screwed that up really, really bad. Nipsey Hussle would be really disgusted with me right now. But so being able to inspire, or where I was going with it before I messed it up so badly, was being able to inspire uh, other individuals is super important. I think it's probably one of the biggest and selfless gifts that we can give to other people. And
Right.
realizing, like you said, you were dope back then. I didn't know it, which leads me to my next question. Uh, Coming up, did you have a mentor or someone that you would navigate towards that could help you to figure it out, or were you figuring it out on your own, just writing everything in your journal, in your book along the way?
So that's a great segue into what I was thinking I was about to say after something you just said triggered for me. I did not particularly have a mentor, and the closest I would say I got to one was the teacher that I told you
Yep.
let us come and sit in her classroom, and she would read our stuff, and she would be like, "Yeah." She would tell me, "Yeah, this is great." Like she didn't have any negative feedback anytime. Um, and but I feel like I never really navigated it because I never knew like it was like a world for me. Um, but what I've realized also along this ministry journey is that part of it is not just touching lives through my words and performing, but also the way I see it now is that, I needed writing when I was growing up. And I had that. I didn't really have a person, but I had the writing. And there is someone somewhere who does not know that writing is the space for them. And they need that and they need that mentor. And so I'm like, yeah, that's been sitting on my heart for a couple of years. But like being out here and still not really knowing many people, like a lot of people I know are from my organization, they're older women and their kids are grown. And so I don't have a network with like youngins.
Mm.
But this past December, we partnered with this organization out here uh, who work with youth in different age ranges. So the age range that came to us was they were under 18. And I was just like, I felt compelled to ask the program director, like, you know what, I'm a poet and I'm like really working to find youth to work with on some writing workshops. Like, and he was like, actually, I love that. But we have older kids. They're like 18 to 22. And I feel like those are the ones that need it. And we actually do have a lot of
Mm.
creatives. He said, I want you on this project. Whatever you come into me with, I want it. And I'm like, okay. So I told them, I'm like, okay, as soon as my busy season over, I'm in there. So I am so excited to get that
Nice.
project going because I feel like I probably need them more than they need me. Because at this point, the way I feel about this calling is like it's on a higher level. So I gotta take it up like a
Mm.
million.
I
And
love it.
so pouring into them, I feel like helps pour into me.
It's amazing how some people don't understand that. Like what they say, like sometimes it's better to give than to receive, right? Because giving ultimately is especially when you give to the right people, right? It's always going to be reciprocated. Maybe not in the same exact way, maybe not on the same exact level, but like you said, for you, it's just you already know how important it is. And we used to do this back with Motto, right? A drop in a jewel, a drop in a jewel, or planting a seed and allowing them to take with it or sprout in whichever direction that they're going to decide to go.
Right.
So kudos to you for creating that. I can't wait to see what the young creatives come up with underneath your tutelage. And I already know that it's gonna be dope, and I'm gonna keep saying dope because that's your word. It's gonna be dope. Um, Let me see, man. I'm gonna take you in a completely different direction right now. This
Okay.
is something that I call a rapid fire, right? We started doing rapid fire. I want to say, actually, it might have been at the beginning of this year. Hold on, I gotta get one more thing up. So rapid fire is gonna be a 90-second round of me asking you. Don't worry, it ain't gonna be no questions that's gonna get you in trouble, right? But it's always just like well, trying to figure out what's your pet peeve, if you got a favorite sneaker, what's your favorite snack, stuff like that, and letting our audience on the back community and the world to get a chance to understand Siggy a little bit more.
Okay.
All right, you ready to indulge with me in rapid fire?
Yes.
All right, all right. My first question for you is, what is your biggest fear?
Driving up hills and I'm stopped, and then I take my foot off the brake and thinking my car gonna go backward.
Ooh, stay out of San Francisco. Stay out of San
Right.
Francisco.
Right.
Okay. All right, all right. If you had to choose a favorite shoe or sneaker, what would it be?
Um, um, Probably sandals. I prefer to be barefoot, one
Okay,
with the earth, so as little as possible.
okay, okay. All right, all right. If you had a hidden talent that nobody knows of. Everyone knows that you're a musician, you're a poet, you're an accountant, you're a creative, but it's probably the most random thing. So if you had a hidden talent that nobody knew about, Siggy, what would it be?
Well, if I told you it wouldn't be a hidden talent,
Ah!
um, next.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let me see. If you got a chance to live anywhere in the world, money isn't an issue. Where would you choose to live and why?
I think right now I would say Dominica. I just went there in January and it was the most beautiful place. Like
Mm,
I'm already from the Caribbean, so of course it's always Grenada for me, but Dominica was such a vibe and I plan to be going back. So yeah.
I love it. Where's down? I can't access this is rapid fire. I'm sorry. All right. if this one is for me, if you had to choose your favorite musical artist, oh, I think you said it already, Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Crap. See. All right. If you had to choose your favorite actor or actress, who would it be?
I want to say Viola Davis because so I started seeing I started with a poet mentor
Mm,
couple months ago, and he told me I remind him of like a viola, like I
mm,
perform with every ounce of me, and he was
mm.
like, I need that from you. I need more viola. So she like I made a what you call it, a vision board, and I put her
Yep.
on it. I was like, okay, well, I guess we doing viola then.
I love it. I love it. And be like, listen, man, she's been consistently knocking them out the park for a very long time before she even started to get her just due. So for you to be associated with Miss Viola Davis is powerful all by itself. But thank you for indulging me in rapid fire. See, I told you I wasn't gonna get you in trouble. I wasn't gonna get you in no trouble. Let me see. My favorite question of all four seasons is asking my guests, um, how do you define success? If you were to define success, how would you define success?
Oh, interesting. I would say success is when you can sit back and think over the things that you've done and see the plans that you had from just in your head come to fruition and feel content. Like, yeah, maybe I still have more work to do, but right now where I'm sitting, this is beautiful.
Mm,
So,
okay. Okay. It's interesting that you use the word contentment, right? Because depending on who you say content to, it can stir up a negative emotion, right? In the Hughes household, me and my wife contend on that all of the time, right? And I think a lot of times people hear contentment, they hear contentment, but they associate it with complacency, right? And as a wordsmith, you realize that no, they're two completely different things. They have two different meanings for a
mhm,
reason. But I think if people understood how important it was to be content, right? And it doesn't mean to be complacent. It doesn't mean that you don't aspire for more, you don't want more, you don't see more, you don't envision more. But it also just means that my gratitude level for what I have or what I've been through is right where it needs to be too, right? So
right.
I'm glad you said that.
And I know that people have that hang up on content. And that was why I specifically was like, I'm not finished, but for right now, because I feel like a lot of people they forget to honor where they are right now
Mm,
because don't have all the things.
yep.
And so that's why I'm like, yeah, but you have to be happy for what you have right now because you mess around and God snatch it all back. Oh, okay. And
Hmm.
no, sir. I like where I'm at. So,
Okay. All right. Yeah, man. It's just like being able to, I said, give yourself grace. Give yourself grace and realize it ain't supposed to be like I can imagine your definition, especially as someone an accountant in finance, your definition of success has probably changed over the years, right? It was probably similar to most of ours. Just like, success meant when I peaked or I hit this particular number. I'm successful, right? Especially
right.
if you came out saying that I got to work for one of the big four. And one, you never described who the big four was. So
Oh,
I want you to describe who the big four are. But for you to have that mindset already, that this is gonna set me up for life if I come out and start and establish myself in one of these companies. But who's the big four?
so the big four in the accounting world are there's Ernst and Young, so that was my firm, Deloitte, PwC, and KPMG. So they're the big four
Mm,
accounting firms. That's where everybody want to go start their career because they're known. And when people see their name on your resume, it's like, okay, you have Big Four experience. But also you come to realize not everybody is smart at Big Four. So that don't really mean you getting a quality worker. So you come to realize some of these things don't matter. But I knew when
Facts.
I got in there, I was like, I'm gonna make partner, I'm gonna do this and that. And I sat down with a black partner and he said, listen, um, this comes with a lot. And his children, he was like, my son and I don't have a good relationship. Like me and my daughter will be trying to mend it, but like my son and I do not do well because he felt like he needed me and I felt like I needed to provide. So I wasn't there for the things that he needed me there for. And so then that put my position on, well, if I'm trying to make it to partner and I'm doing this in the entertainment industry, like how do I become a mother? Because my parents were there for everything. Like my mother was a stay-at-home wife, which I loved that. And my father was home by 5 o'clock every day. And so he was part of everything. And I'm just like, I had such involved parents. And then I'm gonna be the hands-off parent that's at work every day. Like it didn't connect for me. And so, and then there were, I know people who were leaving the Big Four because they wanted to start families. And I'm over here like, yeah, I want to be a partner. And I'm like, as the years go by, things change. I was like, oh, that's not the plan no more. I don't, yeah.
No. Listen, that goes back to, I mean, uh, 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 leads me into the next question, which is balance, right? Right? So obviously we have our own aspirations, we have our own goals. But for a creative like you, I have to ask, how do you balance it all, Siggy? So you're everybody's favorite accountant, right? Musician, poet, author, about to endeavor into the space of working with these youngins again, right? But how do you find a healthy work-life balance for you?
So work-life balance was definitely a big challenge for me. It was really, can we curse?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because it was whooping my ass for a really long time, baby. Let me tell you, like I realized it ever since the pandemic hit, because I started the job that I'm at right now. I started it like right before the pandemic hit, and then we went home. So I was still new to the company. I'm over here learning. You sent me home. People in New York were dying heavy. I was concerned about my family. I was here by myself. I'm like, if I catch COVID, what am I gonna do by myself? Like, so it was. I feel like for the past 4 years, I've been trying to. Um, I've been struggling with time and work life balance because it was just so much going on. But over the past, like around October of last year, I said, baby, you need to get your life together because you struggling to get through all the things that you need to get through. Like I was like robbing Tom from things. Like I'm like, these tax returns need to get done, but also I got NCMW business, but also like you have a show coming up and you can't be like people expect a certain caliber of your work. So you can't be out here. As soon as I saw you drop off, I stopped. So I'm just like, you got so much things to do and you keep taking time from one thing to do the next thing. So back in October, I was like, okay, you got to come up with a plan. So I started really working on my time and my project management. And I'm like, you're going to see the real test of time come January during busy season. And I see a whole different change.
Siggy, thinking about your life's path, all that you've been through up until now, right? What about your life's path are you most proud of?
I would say my move
Mm,
to California because I did that on a whim by myself with nothing. I decided I was just like, I had never visited here. I didn't know nobody here.
mm,
I didn't, nothing. I just said, We going out there with a dream. And I packed up the car, I shipped it, I got on the plane, and as I was sitting on the plane, I was like, girl, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And I just came here and I found a place to live to 2 weeks after I got here,
Mm.
and I've been in that place ever since. And I grew a whole network. Like it, you wouldn't even know that I just came here with nothing, doing nothing. Whatever fit in my car was it. And I used to sit here on the floor and just look at this empty apartment, like, yo, but look what I did. And then sometimes I sit here, even today, I sit on the couch and I'm like, look around at everything in here and I'm like, girl, look what you did. So
Mm.
yeah, I think that pushed me. That was my
Listen, I'm taking this as a sign from God that it told us it's time to wrap this up.
yep.
Uh, Cause I ain't never seen nothing like that in almost 4 whole seasons. So I'm gonna ask you this just in case this thing cuts off again. I have to ask you because you're an inspirational person. Who inspires you? Like, what are you listening to? What are you reading that inspires you? Because I always like to ask what's inspiring the people that inspire me, excuse me.
So right now I'm reading, I'm going back to, I feel like right now in my life, I'm reverting back to all the things that I loved when I was younger. So I'm rereading Maya Angelou. I know why the cage bird sings. Like I love her. So now I want to go back through all of her works. When I'm finished with her, I want to go through Nikki Giovanni. Like I'm
Mm,
going back through all the poets that I loved when I was younger as I
mm,
embark on this journey for writing my next book. Listening, I listen to old school music. I don't know what's going on right now, but you gonna catch me listening to Stevie, Donnie, India. That's
mm.
that's in rotation. Um, that's pretty much it. And then watching, I don't watch anything inspiring. I just watch a whole bunch of foolishness because you need that balance, you
You
know?
need that balance. You need that balance. You watching Love Is Blind?
No, but I'm watching Love and Hip Hop. Like, right before this interview, I was like, okay, let me start my ratchet TV
Mm,
because
mm.
you gotta have that little balance.
Yep, yep. You gotta have that balance, and that's what makes us who we are. Well, listen, man. Before you leave, you have to be able to tell my audience where to find you. I'll be sure to include your information in the comments section where everywhere where I drop this. But please, if everyone wants to find you, they want to book you, they want to hire you, they want to contract you, how do they get to Siggy?
Yes. So my email, and I'll send you. I think I sent you all of this, but I'll send it
I
all
got it.
again so
I
you
got
can.
it.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just some of the people
Okay.
don't got access
So
to what I got, so I need you to tell them.
no, no, no. I was saying so you can like have it on here. But yes, my email is trust dot the quiet force, the way it sounds, the quiet force at gmail.com. For any bookings, reach out to me for anything. Um, that's also that's pretty much my handle on everything. Trust dot the quiet force on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all those platforms. Facebook. Uh, there's not much going on there right now because, like I said, when I was telling my younger self, you do it, you got to do it, you got to post it, you got to put it out there. I feel like when I perform, people catch me at performances and then they book me like that. So I don't really post what I do, but every once in a while I post something and somebody like, oh, you trying to come to this event? So I'm like, I got to post more. But yeah, I will be seeing more posts in the upcoming months. April is National Poetry Month.
All right.
So I will be posting for I will be challenging myself to post for the month because by the end of this year, from my lips to God's ears, by the end of this year, I'm gonna see some growth in this journey.
I love it. All right. All right. Well, listen, last question for me. I know you made mention of a book two, baby two coming. The people want to know, how long we gotta wait for baby number two to be birthed. Say so it can forever and consistently be broken. Let us know.
So I am looking at uh this year. I am planning for later this year because the ideas that I had, I'm not trying to put out non-quality work. People have become to associate me with a certain level of
Yep.
caliber. And I've had so many ideas that keep popping up. But also, like I said, I got to work for the man first to pay them bills
Yep.
to release this book. So as soon as April 15th hit and them taxes is done, this is my full-time project. And so I have a date in mind. I don't want to put it out there and then people harass me like, girl, it's so and so day. Because when I wrote this book, my homegirl read it in 5 minutes and has been harassing me ever since for book number two. I released this in April of 2020. She's been bothering me since April of 2020. So I'm not giving nobody no firm date so that they could harass me about why I'm not on my game. But I'm looking to this year.
Okay. Okay. Well, listen. What I want to say in closing is, again, you're on this platform because you inspire me. I love what it is that you're doing. I love your love for words, because words are so important. In a lot of ways, especially in the technology age where everybody just looks down at their phone all the time, we forget how powerful or impactful our words could be. So thank you for consciously choosing to use your voice to be impactful. Thank you for being a dope ass Black woman. And I want to say Happy Women's History Month. I wish you success in the writing process in the development of book number two. I can't wait to get your story out to the world.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being a supporter. Thank you for model back in the day. Just thank you.
Hey, listen, man. Well, thank you again. I'll play catch up with you soon, and let's make history.
All right.
Later.
Later.
Keep climbing up the ladder. A Black Lives Matter. They matter. Matter. So all you young people, give me all. 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 Matter, matter. A Black Lives Matter. They matter, they matter. A Black Lives Matter.